All right, what's up, everybody? Sam Callahan here. It's not going to be a full podcast episode. I'll do my best to keep it short. Uh, that means I can't stop talking, though, and it'll take a while. But I threatened to grab one of these. I threatened to talk about one of these on the last couple of podcasts. This is the Ranger Arms RA9 Sport. This is the non-threaded version, what I would prefer for like carry optics, limited optics type shooting or production. I'll show you why I say production. The cool thing about this right away, it comes in a nice case. I know that doesn't matter to most, doesn't really matter to some people, but it does to some others. You get a bunch of cleaning tools and stuff with it, extra magazine. Most of you probably have a mag loader, extra, all that kind of stuff. But hey, it's in there. It's nice to have. It's a nice little case too. It's not a crappy case like some companies just give you like a Tupperware case. Well, the one thing I wanted to note right away was I pulled this out and I checked this out. Let me see if I can get that in focus. That is just a Mech-Gar CZ75 mag with a nifty little base pad on it. But they didn't even mess around with like pretending that it's a different mag or trying to invent something proprietary. In my opinion, that's always a good thing. Non-proprietary parts, non-proprietary mags is pretty cool to me. There's a couple other stupid guns that I think are released out there that are just like $5,000 or new proprietary parts and pieces that are unique, and I don't ever find that a good thing for us performance shooters or any duty people. So hey, an abundance of working, robust, good mags that aren't that expensive, really cool. If you're a CZ75 guy, you probably have a bunch of these laying around anyway. Pretty cool. I even have some laying around being a Glock weirdo. But yeah, you get two of those. What are these? 17 round mags? Yep, 17 round mags that come with it. Then out comes, well, actually before the gun, what's cool, you get a plate, optics plate with it. This is for an RMR footprint. Yeah, for an RMR footprint, from what I understand. Now that's kind of a bummer for me because I don't run anything RMR, but it's one of the more common footprints, so I understand that. It's also just a plate, so I'm sure Arise can cook up a plate pretty quick. It's nice though that even without the plate in play, out of the box it comes. And let me just chamber check that again so I don't get YouTube yelled at. It's an empty gun. Adjustable rear, blacked out serrated sights, a nice, clear, crisp front fiber optic. They're high enough that they feel easy to see. They're not low. They're not crazy. They're not sticking up like suppressor heights. It's a good balance. Um, Now, in previous videos, I said something. I said this kind of reminded me like a CZ mixed with a Glock. And I think I only said that because of the CZ magazines. I'm going to take that back. I don't think this is resembles a CZ at all. What I think this resembles is if a Glock ran headfirst into the new Walther steel frame, and out the other side came this. Now, why I say that is the disassembly up top and a lot of the pieces up top, like the striker assembly and everything, and the back plate seems more similar to Walther than Glock. Still just a striker fire. It's got a nice little striker indicator, little things like little things that people end up. There's a loaded chamber indicator, things like that. But slide serrations up front, which are nice because most of us like to rack from the front now, or at least we don't want a slick slide. It comes windowed up like this, which is pretty cool. It looks pretty nifty right out of the box. Now it doesn't look crazy fancy or anything, but it looks pretty nifty out of the box. I like it. Now that's enough for the top end. What's the fancy part here is I'll get to the bottom end. Um, I'll start bottom up. Comes with a nice little magwell. Magwell comes off just like any other striker fire gun. You can just remove it and run it. Um, what's nice is these grip panels. I checked. I was wrong. They're not CZ75 grip panels, but they're just aluminum grip panels. They're going to be real easy for a company to come out with grip panels if this ended up being a real thing. If not, you know how I feel about grip tape. I'm just going to grip tape it up right there, and I'm done. Now, mag release is fairly releasable, fairly reachable, rather. It's not like hidden in there. It's easy to get. I'll get to the main attraction here. This is a full metal gun. Is this steel? I actually don't want to speak out of. I'm not sure. This is a full metal gun. I'll leave it at that. So this trigger is ridiculous. I think it's at 4 millimeters of pre-travel, and when somebody says something like that to me, like a ridiculous claim, I'm like, yeah, okay. And then I picked it up, and I'm like, wow, that's ridiculous. Now you could basically pin that pretty quick. Like it's easy to hit that prep. It's easy, but the fun thing is, it's if I had to guess, like a 3.5 pound break, 3 pound break. It's real nice. Now the reset is insane. Boom. Break. It's pretty crazy. There's almost no travel. Now, even though there's no travel and even though it's nicey like that, what I would describe it as is crisp. I wouldn't describe it as like hair trigger or light. Like I could pretty easily prep the trigger and I could still pretty easily break it, but it doesn't feel dangerous to me. So it's got that built-in trigger safety, and it comes straight out of the box like this. Like I know it's a red trigger and it looks all fancy, but this is exactly how it comes. So it's pretty nice. Now, those of you who like to throw lights on, hey, it's got a tack rail. It's got all the pieces and parts that people tend to care about and nothing that people don't, which is nice. Now, I mentioned it kind of resembles a Glock. Now, check this out. If I were to look at this gun, it kind of looks similar to the PDPs where it's got the hump in the grip here. It breaks down similar to, they're exactly the same as the Walther polymer frames, not the steel frames, and it breaks down similar to most polymer striker fires. But I noticed something because I was pointing this around my kitchen and immediately was getting good sight picture. And it's not the gun, it's because it happens to have a very, very similar grip angle and everything to this Glock. So if you look, the almost only difference is the teeniest, tiniest little hump, right? The teeniest, tiniest little hump that sticks out the back there. Sorry, it's very rudimentary for me to be lining these guns up on YouTube like this. But what's cool was for me, for somebody who didn't really want like a really different grip angle than a Glock, it feels very similar to the Glock. It's just heavier. It's just got a really light trigger. The thing that I noticed immediately when I took this apart was something cool about the trigger group. It is insanely robust. Like it is two giant chunky pieces of metal. Now everything else looks pretty similar to what we're used to. There's the like everything else looks just on sight like things we are used to, right? I'll break it down more. I looked at the manual, nothing jumped out and surprised me, nothing like that. But it seems like a pretty reasonable gun in that it's robustly built, but holy hell does that trigger feel really nice to shoot. It's a heavier metal gun, but it's not something that feels like 4.5 pounds of unnecessary, which some other metal guns kind of feel like to me. Um, it doesn't change much as the grip angles from the guns we're used to. And some little bonus that I just figured out is I grabbed a couple of holsters, and it turns out it fits in my PDP holsters. So this is the Hydra P that I use for every single gun I use. And hey, look, it fits in a Hydra P holster. So tomorrow or the next day, whenever this blizzard literally knocks it the hell off, I'll go back outside and I'm going to try to put like 1,000 rounds through this in the next couple of days and see how it is. Now, again, I'm not shilling anything. I'm not changing to them. They don't know who I am. I just want to make people aware of it. I want to have an opinion on it. Nobody else I've seen has an opinion on it, or most people don't even know about it. So here it is. I'll let people know, is this a good option or not? I honest to God don't know. I haven't shot it yet, but just through dry fire, it points very nicely, meaning, I mean, it feels natural. There's something about the ergonomics of, it's a fancy word, I hate that people overuse, but it's something about the grip panel and the angle of this grip panel that it really allows you to get your weak hand like really buried in this, and I feel really locked into this gun. Sights look nice, it points well, and I mean, that trigger is pretty unreal. It really is. That's a pretty ridiculous trigger to just play with already. So I don't know. I like it off the bat. If I start to hate it, if I feel anything else about it, if it malfunctions, if it doesn't shoot reliably, I'll let you guys know. But as of right now, at a price tag of sub $800, depending on where you're getting it from, I've seen a bunch of different varying prices. I'm sure it'll change when the distributing and all that stuff comes to like figure itself out. But right now, this is a sub $800 gun that is ready to race out of the box. You can just throw some grip tape on it and let it rock. It's got a plate if you want to throw an optic on it, and you could race it tomorrow if you have CZ mags. So pretty cool. I'll let you know if I can add this to the list of guns that I'd approve. But for right now, I'm going to go keep playing with this. I'm going to go get some reps in. I'm going to go dry fire. And as I always say at the end of all my videos, you should probably go do that too. Don't forget to dry fire.